Y'all give it up for Bakari Sellers.
Bakari in the building.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, Bakari, good morning, man. Happy to have you. There's a lot of stuff going on. First of all, you know, the Congress has no speaker since Kevin McCarthy was outed 2 weeks ago. And without a leader, the House is definitely unable to pass any bills or approve White House requests for emergency aid. That includes potential help for Israel amid its war with Hamas. Now that Jim Jordan failed his run, they really got a math problem. Is that accurate, Bakari?
I think the best way to describe it is that there are a lot of Republicans who just can't count. I mean, the numbers that people need to know are these two numbers, 221 and 217. There are 221 Republicans. They have a majority, but only a slight majority. You need 217 votes in order to be the speaker. And so an individual can only lose 4 votes. Jim Jordan only got 200 votes yesterday. He fell short by 17. Is probably going to lose more today when they go into the Congress at 11 a.m. And so there are a lot of individuals who want to be speaker. None of them have the ability to really do it or do it well. And so you're probably going to be stuck. And, you know, for him, it's one of the most powerful jobs in the world. But you're probably going to have somebody like Patrick McHenry, who's the Speaker Pro Tem from North Carolina, actually be elevated and be Speaker of the House.
And Bakari, I have a question for you. So with that being the case, that Speaker Pro Tem, he's limited in what he actually has the authority to do. So isn't Congress going to just be hamstrung until they get this thing figured out?
Yeah, they can't do anything. I mean, the Senate can do what they want to do. They can have classified briefings. I mean, usually in a classified setting, the Speaker of the House is somebody who is a part of those, the Speaker of the House, the Minority Leader, the President of the Senate, et cetera. Minority Leader of the Senate are usually the ones who have those meetings and those classified briefings. Well, right now there's some Republicans who simply cannot have those briefings because there's no speaker. They literally can do nothing, and they can't count.
And can I get a part 2 to that question? Part two, with this being the case, how is this important for people to understand that it's not a Congress has a problem, it's that one side of Congress created this problem? And how does that affect everyday Americans?
It's not even one side, it's one party, right? And so when you think of one side of Congress, people think of just the House of Representatives, but it's actually just the Republicans and not being able to. I mean, they're divided. I mean, they're in. It's like a bitter war between multiple factions in that side. But Rickey said it earlier. I mean, you think about aid to Israel in their war against Hamas. You think about just spending bills and keeping the government open. You know, the government is going to face another shutdown in a matter of days. And so all of those things are important. And if they can't get their act together, then that means it's not only going to affect the stock market, but it's going to affect your everyday lives, people who are government employees, people who depend on government checks, government subsidies, your businesses, your small business association, USDA, all of these things.
Travel,
right? Because travel, FAA, reauthorization, all of those things, simply because you can't get I mean, the airport's already a mess. Just imagine how much of a mess it's going to be if and when Congress shuts down or the government shuts down.
Now, Bakari, I have a question about House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. He suggested last night that Democrats would be open to working with the interim Speaker, Patrick McHenry. Now, what do you think his influence is going to be in terms of getting the votes from the Democratic side?
I think that, you know, Democrats are offering to work with him as somewhat of a death knell for a Republican to even, you know, say that they will work with Democrats. But if we need to get something done, they want to get something done, then it probably will be Patrick McHenry. The question is how many votes can he get in his own caucus? You know, if Patrick McHenry can't do it, then no Republican can. And that's a whole different set of messes that we got to deal with. But he's somebody who's been in Congress since, I believe, 2004. He is one of those kind of George Bush rebel rousers. He was very close to Speaker McCarthy. He is, I guess the bar is kind of low, but he's normal, if that memeans anything.
Right. Hey, Rick, I want to switch gears for a second. Donald Trump in this trial before the election, part one of the question is, do you see Donald Trump winning the Republican nomination for president of the United States? And do you think that part two is the trial in that case which one? The one that's in D.C. is going to affect his ability to run?
So the answer to the first part is yes, he will be the nominee. There's nobody coming close to him. He's beating the second place person, which is either Ron DeSantis or Nikki Haley, whichever poll you're looking at, beating them by 40 points. So he's going to win that race. That race will be over on King Day, ironically enough. The Republicans are having their Iowa primary on King Day. So that will be done. And then you'll have Joe Biden versus Donald Trump. And Joe Biden, even if he gets found guilty, I do not believe a judge will put him in prison. But even if he gets found guilty, has a felony, he can't vote for himself, but he can still run for president. And if people don't get off their butts and go out and vote, Donald Trump can't be president of the United States again.
Wow. And that's going to be a serious problem. But wow, Bakari, man, thank you so much for coming on, man. Always, keeping us informed. Let everybody know how they can follow you and how they can get your kids' book.
Well, thank you for both of those. Like, follow me on Instagram, Bakari Sellers, on Twitter or X or whatever it's called, Bakari_Sellers. And My Vanishing Country, Who Are Your People, anywhere books are sold. I got some new work coming out next year. So we look forward to all of it.
There it is. Hey, man, love you, man. Thank you. We appreciate you.
Yes, be sellers.
Thank you. Peace.
Yes, sir. Bakari Sellers, y'all. More Rickey Smiley Morning Show coming up.